Hi everyone, so in this video I just want to go over some sample problems that I'll do using the zero product property and how we can use it to solve these equations. So first let me briefly state what the zero product property is. So if A times B equals 0, then A equals 0 or B equals 0. Or in other words, if you have two numbers and they multiply to equal to 0, that means one of the numbers must be equal to 0. So let's do a problem. So let me give you a problem. X minus 5 times x plus 3 equals 0. So using the zero product property, that means one of x minus 5 or x plus 3 is equal to 0. So one of these must have to equal 0 because any number times 0 is equal to 0. So to solve this, we're going to write that means x minus 5 equals 0 or x plus 3 equals 0. Okay, so now that we solve these two equations, and we have to remember we do the opposite of minus 5 here. So to solve this equation, we have to add 5 on both sides. So you get x equals 5. For here, we do the opposite of plus 3, which is minus 3. So we subtract 3 on both sides. You get x equals negative 3. So that's your answer. Those are your two solutions, x equals 5 and x equals negative 3. Okay, so let's do another problem. Let's do a problem 2x plus 1 times x minus 7 equals 0. So again, if they're equal to 0, that means one of these must have to equal 0. So that means 2x plus 1 equals 0 or x minus 7 equals 0. Then we have to solve these two equations. Let's do the second one first because that's easier. Just add 7 on both sides. You get x equals 7. For now, 2x plus 1, how do we solve this equation? So this is two steps. First, we subtract 1 on both sides. You get 2x equals negative 1. And then we have to do the opposite of dividing or multiplying 2. This is 2 times x, so the opposite of times 2 is divide 2. X equals negative 1 over 2. Okay. You can convert this into negative 0.5 if you wish. So your two solutions is x equals negative 1/2 and x equals 7. So these are two examples on how we can solve problems using the zero product property. Let's do one more. What if I gave you an equation like this, where I ask you to solve this: x squared minus 8x plus 15 equals 0. Okay, so notice x squared minus 8x plus 15. It's different. It looks different from this equation, x minus 5 times x plus 3. So to solve x squared minus 8x plus 15, our goal is let's turn this into this form. And how do we do that? By factoring. So to the Xbox method, we put x squared here, we put 15 there. Let's multiply it. And then we make the x. On top, this is 15x squared. On bottom, that's negative 8x. Okay, pause the video. What two numbers multiplies to 15 and adds to negative 8? That's negative 5x, negative 3x. And then we fill those in the boxes. And then let's fill in the outside. X times x is x squared, negative 5, negative 3. So the length is x minus 5, the width is x minus 3. So now we can turn x squared minus 8x plus 15 into x minus 5 times x minus 3 equals 0. Now, how do we do this? Let's use the zero product property. That means if two numbers multiply to equal 0, that means one of them is 0. So x minus 5 is equal to 0 or x minus 3 is equal to 0. And then let's solve these equations. Plus 5, x equals 5. And then the opposite of minus 3, plus 3, x equals 3. Okay. So Yep, so that's how we can solve it. Zero product property, and if it's in this form, you can factor and turn it into this instead. So this is how we do some problems. Hope this helps you with doing your problems for this week.